The year is 539 BC, the location, the ancient city of Babylon. King Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire, has just conquered the city and its people are preparing for his arrival. They've heard stories of his greatness, of how he freed the Jews from slavery in Babylon and allowed them to return to their homeland. He's also reputed to be a fair and just ruler, even towards his enemies, so when Cyrus rides into town, the people of Babylon welcome him as a liberator. But Cyrus was not the first to conquer Babylon. It was part of an even greater empire, one that stretched from the Middle East to Central Asia and included lands never before seen by most Persians. In fact, this empire would be so vast that it has been called the First World Empire, and yet no empire in history has fallen faster or further than this one. This is the story of the rise and fall of the Persian Empire. After defeating the Babylonians, Cyrus the Great set out to conquer the known world. His empire would stretch from the Balkans to the Pacific. Under his rule, the Persians adopted the ways of the people they conquered, adopting their customs and even learning their languages. By the time of his death, the empire was 2,000 miles wide and 6,000 strong. But empires are not built to last, and as the Persians expanded, they left their empire vulnerable to attack. Cyrus's successors were not as great as he was, and soon nomadic horse riders from Central Asia known as the Scythians began to raid the outer reaches of the empire. Eventually, they would push so far south that the Persian king had to raise a massive army to stop them. But while successful, this campaign drained the treasury and weakened the empire. And then disaster struck. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great led his Macedonian army east and defeated the Persians in a series of battles, one after another. The Persian kings lost their territories until only a small part of the empire remained. Soon, though, even that would fall and the great Persian Empire would be no more. Though the empire was short-lived, it accomplished many great things. Under Cyrus the Great, the Jews were allowed to return to Israel and rebuild their temple. Trade flourished and cities grew. The Persians built magnificent palaces and gardens and invented new technologies. In fact, the great library of Persepolis, the capital of the empire, is considered one of the ancient world's 7 wonders. So why then did this great empire fall? Simply put, because its leaders failed to learn from their mistakes. The Persians expanded too quickly and did not have the resources to hold on to their far-flung territories. They also failed to adapt to new technologies and the great innovations of the Greek world. Finally, they underestimated their enemies and did not prepare for the coming storm. As a result, the Persian Empire fell, and with it, one of the great civilizations of the ancient world. Hey there, Speedy, thanks for watching. Thousands of years ago in the ancient world, there existed an empire so vast and influential that it left an indelible mark on the course of human history. Welcome to my channel. Today we embark on a captivating journey through time to explore the rise and fall of the mighty Persian Empire. Our story begins in the 11th century BC in the heart of what is today Iran. Cyrus the Great, a visionary leader with a burning ambition, laid the foundation for a new empire that would stretch from the Mediterranean Sea to the Arabian Peninsula and Central Asia. Cyrus's army was a well-oiled machine, a diverse force composed of infantry, cavalry and elite soldiers known as the Immortals. Their discipline and tactics were legendary. As Cyrus's armies marched across the ancient world, they encountered various civilizations, each with its own unique culture and traditions. The Persians, known for their adaptability, embraced the diversity of their subjects, incorporating different customs and beliefs into their empire. This policy of religious tolerance and cultural exchange fostered a sense of unity among the diverse peoples of the empire, creating a melting pot of cultures that thrived under the Persian banner. One of the most significant aspects of the Persian Empire was its monumental achievements in infrastructure. The construction of massive palaces, such as the Palace of Persepolis, showcased the empire's wealth and power, but it was the ingenious network of roads that connected the vast empire that truly facilitated trade, communication, and the swift movement of troops. These well-paved roads, some stretching over 1,600 miles, were not just arteries for commerce, but also veins of cultural exchange, carrying ideas and innovations across the empire's borders. However, no empire is without its rivals. The Greeks to the west had long been eyeing the riches and territories of the Persians. The conflict culminated in the Greco-Persian Wars, a series of battles that pitted the Persians against the Greeks. The wars were a clash not only of military might, but also of two distinct ways of life, each striving for supremacy. Though the Greeks ultimately prevailed, the Persian Empire, despite setbacks, continued to endure. Yet the seeds of the empire's decline were sown. Internal rebellions, won by Cyrus's grandson, Cambyses I, and external pressures from the expanding Macedonian kingdom under Alexander the Great led to the empire's collapse in the 10th century BC. Alexander, known for his military genius, conquered the Persian heartland, ending the Achaemenid dynasty and the era of the Persian Empire. The fall of the Persian Empire marked the end of an era, a turning point in history that would have profound implications for the ancient world. The once vast empire, a testament to the power and grandeur of the Persians, was now a thing of the past. We hope you enjoyed this journey through time. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe and stay tuned. By years before the birth of Christ, the largest empire in the world stretched from Central Asia to the Mediterranean Sea. It was the Persian Empire, and it would influence the course of human history like no other. But how did it begin? In the 1st century, a small group of nomadic goat herders lived in a region called Persia, which today is modern-day Iran. They were united under one belief, worshipping a single god called Ahura Mazda, but their peaceful way of life was shattered when the mighty Assyrian Empire to the west began to encroach upon their lands. So, in 550 BC, Cyrus the Great united the Persian tribes and led them to victory against the Assyrians, conquering vast territories and establishing the Achaemenid Empire. But Cyrus wasn't done yet. He went on to conquer even more land, including the former home of the prophet Zoroaster, who had foretold the rise of a great king that would unite the Persians. Cyrus, known as Cyrus the Great, not only united the Persians, but also respected their local customs and allowed them to keep their religion. He was so fair-minded that even the Jews, who had been exiled in Babylon, were allowed to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, and this policy of religious tolerance became a cornerstone of the Persian Empire, contributing to its remarkable growth. Cyrus's son, Cambyses, continued his father's legacy by conquering Egypt and establishing Persian rule over the entire region of the Fertile Crescent. At its peak, the Persian Empire stretched from Central Asia to the Mediterranean, controlling important trade routes and vast amounts of wealth. The empire was also incredibly diverse, with people of different races, religions and cultures living side by side. But despite its size and wealth, the Persian Empire was destined to fall. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great invaded and toppled the Achaemenid dynasty, ending the Persian Empire and ushering in a new era of Greek and then Roman domination. But the story of the Persian Empire didn't end there. After Alexander's death, the region was taken over by the Parthians, who established a new Persian dynasty in 447 BC. But the Parthian Empire, while wealthy, was constantly fighting off attacks from the Roman Empire to the west. In 414 AD, a new power emerged in the east, the Sassanid Empire. The Sassanids were determined to restore Persian greatness and embarked on a campaign to conquer all of Mesopotamia. They fought many battles against the Romans, but in the end, both empires were exhausted and the fighting eventually stopped. But the Sassanid Empire didn't last forever. In 637, the Muslim armies from the Arabian Peninsula invaded and conquered Persia, bringing an end to the Sassanid dynasty and the last vestiges of the ancient Persian Empire. So what can we learn from the rise and fall of the Persian Empire? How did a small tribe of goat herders create the largest empire in the ancient world? And how did they go from being a powerful force to being ruled over by outsiders? The answer lies in understanding the unique qualities that made the Persian Empire so successful, as well as the factors that ultimately led to its downfall. By exploring these questions, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the rich history of this fascinating civilization and the lasting impact it has had on the world. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more.